Oh, okay. Oh my goodness. Oh, what's happening? Oh my. I'm getting attacked, chat. What's happening? Good morning.
Good morning.
Afternoon, Joe.
Oh, good afternoon.
Oh, good evening.
And good evening. And welcome to the Sandbox Game live stream for October 14th, 2022. The time is 9:50 a.m., our local time, but it may be October 15th, 2022. If you're joining us in the Asia Pacific region, good morning.
Are we just going to pretend like that didn't just happen?
Yes.
How are you doing this morning, Joseph?
I'm doing well. Appreciating the fact that Hen Game Studios is saying hello in 5 different languages. It makes me happy right now. Having a good time. Man. Woo! Getting hype. Because we're going to play some Sandbox game today. Of course, we're playing, as we do, new Alpha Season 3 content on this show while we play live. If you have questions about the Sandbox game, questions about the Sandbox Game Maker, maybe our asset creation software, VoxEdit, or anything in the metaverse, you can ask us live over on YouTube and twitch.tv/the Sandbox Game, where we see your questions live through our special chat service that unifies those together. If you would like to ask a question live, please, if you could, put the word question in front of your question. It helps us spot them so that we don't miss any questions that you would like to have live. If for any reason we do miss that question, or that question is a little bit above our little pay grade here, then you can always ask them over on Discord or Telegram or Twitter using the links in the description below this video. Chat. Sabrulal asking a question. I saw you ask this yesterday, and forgive me for not answering it immediately. I did want to see if Panda was going to have an answer. So, do we know for sure that an Alpha Pass bot from Opensea can claim the rewards? I am KYC'd and at level 5. You must be KYC'd and you must have an Alpha Pass in order to be whitelisted. So, yeah. You could get one from Opensea. And forgive my mistake the other day for saying you might want to be cautious. I noticed that a couple of users, when I said be cautious, that might not be the case, immediately sold their pass. Never FOMO in and out. Okay, make sure that you get a real answer 100%. If there's ever any question, any wavering in my mind or anybody else's mind, don't commit to an idea on it. Make sure you wait until we get a real answer. Ice Pilot X7 with an important question. How do you two get to be such beauties? And the answer is, I'm not.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
This gorgeous man over
Just
here.
Chilling, man. All right, Manglo says, how do you stop the chat refreshing glitch that makes the game unplayable? I'm not familiar with said glitch, Manglo. However, it might be valuable to send in the specs of your system. If you can, do a DXDIAG run on your system, assuming you run Windows, and send in that hardware. Because I reported, like the other day, people were talking about they were having a chat lag or some kind of lag in the newest patch, the 0.7.7 update. And in that update, I just like with the 0.75 update, I didn't have an issue at all. Literally, my PC is hitchless, no problems. It's wild, and everybody's like, what do you have? What's going on? And so I send them in my specs to see, so we can compare those things, because it may be something simple like the way that it interprets on Intel doesn't interpret the same on AMD or something like that, and we can get that fixed in the long term.
Right. The devs are working on it.
Chapter Machine mentioning a question about that, which is basically the same thing that Manglo is saying. Just to be clear, Chapter Machine, we're talking about kind of the same operative issue. It could be because of L2 caching in your CPU, but we won't know unless we know what type of hardware that people are using. And if you're not familiar with what I just said when I said L2 caching in your CPU, that's indicative of the types of problems that could exist that most people will never know.
Right. We're trying to do it on the back end here, guys. And so if you are experiencing some lag, it is more than likely just something over on our end that we're trying to make sure gets fixed. We are still in alpha. So we got another question from Bullet Time Crypto. What can we do against the lagging? And another one against for Sassy Pants Ninja. Always love that name. Some of us cannot access the Walking Dead Stay Alive map. It gives us an error code or error connection. Lost and reconnecting doesn't help either. Is
Sure.
there a fix for that, or do we basically have a potato PC?
Okay, so the first question about the lagging, I think we're in the same kind of ballpark here as the previous few. It could be something where the latest update is affecting a unique like group of CPUs. I assume it's a CPU based on the way that it's described. It seems to me that it's a CPU issue when I'm thinking about the way that computer architecture works, because there is a temporary cache of data in your CPU, and if that cache fills, then that cache is going to dump, and those like short memory dumps could lead to hitching like that, and that would happen if logic is loading in the backdrop that needs to be hyper-threaded, but your CPU is hyper-threaded in a different way than an Intel CPU hyper-threads on an AMD. It could be one or the other. It could be that you're using something that's totally unrelated to both of those. And so sending in something like a DXDiag in a support ticket on Discord is going to be helpful in that regard, so we can get to more of the real root of the issue. But it could also be something where, if we look at the version 0.7.6 that had the jump issue and we compare that with this current version, what's different? And maybe we already have that solved on the pipeline. Not totally sure, because again, the active development portion is not something that we do on this show, but more so I just have a fairly good understanding of how that stuff works. Now, with regards to your error connection loss and reconnecting doesn't help either on the Walking Dead Stay Alive map, it's kind of odd that it's a very specific map. That said, I'm not sure that it's your, as you say, potato PC so much as maybe the server that would serve you from your local area isn't operating as expected. And this happens from a content deployment network, a web of servers all over the world that dishes out that software. Maybe there's something in your particular region where that's an issue. Try first a free VPN service or something to connect to literally anywhere else in the world and see if that fixes your problem. It might make it take a little while longer to load, but you probably won't have an issue where you lose the whole connection, because nobody else that I've seen has reported that.
Now, Sandbox Bar and Conspiracy over on YouTube, almost at the exact same time, both reference the chat connecting and disconnecting, and that seems to be an issue with the lag here. So it may be server side. So give us some time, give us your specs, let us know exactly what you're working with. That way we can try and troubleshoot it over here, just as Joe just said.
Yeah.
And we're going to do our best to make this information go off to the devs so they can get the fix out.
And that's probably another factor when I'm thinking about my PC directly, because I'm seeing the chat is pretty unanimous about this right now. So I think that it is now feels much more like it's likely that it's server side. It's very unlikely that all these people, including IPEC Kochek, who mentioned that they have 7th gen i7, which has a 30, I think it's like a 24 megabyte or 32 megabyte L3 cache in it. So it should be fine. But the anyway, all the other reports as well at the exact same time makes me think it's more server side, and this could be happening again. It's a similar issue, but it's a caching issue of the data on the server side. So it could be something where the latest update leaves too much cached temporary data in the memory, and then that memory gets dumped in masse, which is causing that little lag, little latency on all end users' side. And if that happens, that's something once again that we would clean up. It's just going to take a little while to do so. And again, forgive us for that. It's one of those things where it wasn't there in 7.6. It is there in 7.7. We look at the differences and say, okay, we see what changed. How we fix the jump, right? We see that. We know that. How do we fix the lag? Let's compare this to that and see what's going on with that information.
Right. And Childan coming at us with the real question of the morning. Will Joe start an ASMR Twitch channel?
That seems kind of weird to me. Um, you know, I feel like that's not a Twitch thing. But you know, I mean, obviously there's some people out there doing it. I'm not going to get one of those microphones with the two sides and do all that weird stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not about that life. Diraj MK says, question, saw a list of countries not eligible for giveaways for Alpha Season 3. Can you explain it? Yes, I can. Assuming that there is a list. I don't know of a specific internal list, but I'll give you one example that I can think of off the top of my head. The country of Japan does not allow play to earn, play, and earn mechanics. Straight up, period. That is a legal choice by the country of Japan. So if you're a Japanese citizen, it is illegal for you to receive sand as a reward for playtime, like if you win the pass, right? So then the last season, we gave them an alternative reward, which was an NFT. So if that is the case, then that may be one of those things. But it doesn't mean that a user is, you know, implicitly not going to receive some kind of reward if they may have received an award. But yeah, that's kind of the nature of things until we get all these countries on board to realize that this is really no different than, you know, your Fortnite skins, except that you can sell, trade, resell, whatever after you buy. Once they realize that as a country, then maybe it won't be an issue. But right now they're looking at it just blindly and kind of seeing it as sort of like a gambling mechanism, which it is not, or something like that. Or the potential for that. They may see potential for that even, and legislators are putting it down the way that they are. So, you know, it is what it is. We'll work through it, as is the nature of the space. It's all brand new, right, to the whole world. So even if it's been around for 12, 13 years or whatever, it's one of those things.
Yeah, there was reports that it was just today that TSB had released the new terms on of earning and whatnot, and which countries were eligible. I was getting reports of that in my sleep, and I haven't had time to address it or take a look at it myself, just as Joe hasn't either.
Mhm.
So we're definitely going to be taking a look at that one.
Yeah, okay. More ESB saying there's a big list on the Sandbox website terms. And see, that's the thing. It's like, does an individual country release a thing and say a person can't earn, right? That's up to the local jurisdiction. So if you live in one of these countries that may be affected by it, you might want to bring it up with your local government. Hopefully you have the ability to do that, I would say. 170, 180 sovereign nations on the planet. Hopefully you're in one of those, even if they are restricting. You can then speak out and say, hey, you know, this is why it's not a big deal, and maybe make a change that helps everybody in all play to earn economics to solve that.
You know, Joe, maybe we can go over it. I'm just noticing this here. I just posted it in the GMAE show chat.
We'll see, because I got a lot to talk about, and not quite frankly that much time. But I'm gonna open it real quick.
No worries. That is just our rules here.
That seems to me like that is going to be its own big discussion that would be much better placed on Discord, because okay, so where do you where is this in?
I'm trying to locate it now here.
Okay, all right, because I see the link.
Sometimes chat, we also get the news at the same time as you.
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, yeah, there's way too much to keep track of on a single day for any one person to keep track of it, right? So if this is a thing that somebody found on the TOS today, you know, then it would take, you know, it's gonna take me some time to do my research and make a real answer rather than, you know, pulling something out of my hat. But nonetheless, let's talk about what's happening in a Sandbox game right now. And then I've got a big announcement for you guys that involves something you've been talking about for the last couple of days at the very end. First, people of crypto avatar holders, if you participated in the gated giveaway, your sand is now available to be claimed. This means if you have a POC avatar and you wore it and you went into the POC space during the gated time, you now have that reward available. Go to sandbox.game/en/me/claim to claim that reward today. I believe it was 48 sand, something like that. That was a total sand pool of 200,000 sand that was divided by the number of POC avatars that participated in the event. So congratulations to you. There we go. BitFox says it's 46 sand. Thank you so much. Saving me a little bit of, give me a little life. They said they staked it already. There you go. There you go. Get it going.
Hey.
Ekion Art saying this wasn't 69. This is rigged. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. All right. 1 week away at Board Mummy WU posted. That's right. Mummy Gang. 1 week from today, you'll be able to use your Mumbit in at the Sandbox game. So if you happen to own one of these Mumbits assets, bridging date 19th of October 2022. Ready for that. That's an interoperability bridge. It's not a new NFT or something like that. It'll operate just like the other 10K PFP NFTs. But nonetheless, pretty cool. Nice to see it in the Sandbox game. And then posted earlier. Giveaway. Be the one to win. And at the Sandbox Game Alpha Pass by sharing a picture of your avatar on top of the cherry blossom tree in our hub. Following at Spells of Genesis and at Everdreamsoft. Liking and retweeting this post. This ends on 20th of October. This is from the Spells of Genesis team at Everdreamsoft if you want to see the original tweet right there. Get yourself that opportunity to win that Alpha Season 3 pass. And then, chat, I've got the last announcement for you. This one is going to rock your world. It's going to change your life. You ready? Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it, chat? What's up? Where's that raid? I see a raid. Is that a raid from a Wet Noodle right now? What's up, Wet Noodle? Thanks for hanging out with us. All right, I do see that list. Yes. Okay. Season 3 giveaways are not available to all persons or at all locations. Citizens and residents of Afghanistan, Australia, Belgium, Belize, Bolivia, Brazil, province of Quebec, specifically in Canada, Cambodia, Chad, China, Colombia, Cuba, Germany, India, Iran, Iraq, Italy, Lebanon, Libya, Myanmar, North Korea, Pakistan, Russia, Singapore, Somalia, Spain, Sweden, Sudan, Syria, Tanzania, Thailand, Turkey, the regions of Crimea, Donetsk, Luhansk in Ukraine, and the states of New York, Florida, and Rhode Island. Wow. That is an extensive list. And I want to reiterate that on that list, if you happen to live in one of those regions, you got something going down, you're saying to yourself, this is wild, this is nonsense, what's going on? Reach out to your local representative where you can. Make a change. Be the change you want to see in the world. You know? I know that that's a tough response, but we also have to make sure that the entire platform operates day to day, every day, right? All of the peoples all over the world who want to play inside the Sandbox game, who want to enjoy some of these experiences, are only going to have that opportunity if we continue to operate in accordance with the law.
Right. And unfortunately, this news is coming out pretty late in the season.
Well,
we wish we would have had this a lot sooner.
These things are quite frankly, these things did already exist because they have nothing to do with the Sandbox game, right? That list exists because those countries have, or regions within countries, like Rhode Island in the United States, it's their local legislature, their local governments that are making these decisions as to whether that is legal or not to do. And it has nothing to do with us, really. We're just adhering to the law, right? All right.
Right. And we do have a question from Hen Game Studios. We couldn't load assets due to an error today. Will you give us one more day for the Atari Game Jam delivery?
You would have to reach out to Andy Ritchie if that is the case. They are the decision maker on that, so please do so. Right, Dirash saying betting is legal in India. Hey, you know, that's what I'm saying, right? That's exactly what I'm talking about. If it is, if there's going to be certain biases. Betting is legal in Japan as well, right? Like, and in fact, it's one of the most frequent pastimes. But oh no, I think my cat sees a little bug. He's going to get loud now. Anyway, he just jumps in the room. He's like, meow, like doing his cat thing, you know. But nonetheless, yeah, once again, we have to adhere in the law, and Bold Time Crypto mentioning the law is the same as in Alpha Season 2 and 1. Nothing changed, and that is the case, right? So what you want to do is, again, continue to go with a good heart to those people who are in charge and say like, hey, I understand that we can, do these things, but then also don't necessarily associate the things like cryptocurrency is not really associated with gambling on any level. Cryptocurrency is more closely related to like a stock, right? But not, and then depending on what it is, maybe it's related to a security, and so there are lots of different discussions going on where people are trying to, in a legislative level, put it in a certain box. And because it doesn't have that box, because it doesn't have that regulation, you're seeing certain countries just go like, well, I don't know what it is and I don't know how it works, so I don't want it, right? So we can make it like simple and clear to the people who are like managing your country, then that could open it up, right? Where they'll go like, oh, okay, sorry about that. That's so wild. It's just V-Bucks, but with extra steps, and like I could sell it back or whatever, right? And if you could get that,
Right.
then they're gonna it'll open it up a lot more.
And just like how it's out of our control, it is also out of the sandbox control.
Right. And that's, yeah, because in order to continue to operate as a platform at all, you have to be, in line with the law. You don't want that call one day, FBI open up. You know what I mean? You don't want that. You want to stay above board as a business. Is the leaderboard also a giveaway? It is. Any sort of award is considered a giveaway legally. But you can see that in the terms of service. You can see that in the rules section. Everything that is an award is a giveaway. And once again, when it comes to certain regions, if we can find ways or places in the law where they say, well, that's not that, then we can offer an award like we did with Japan, right? We couldn't give sand tokens because they didn't want you to give cryptocurrency, but there was nothing against NFTs. And so we made a special NFT just for Japan last season. And there may be things like that. All right, so the big news, the big one, the new one, the one that you're looking forward to is we've been talking about the Alpha Season 3 leaderboards and how those things may be affected and like shoring things up there. Announcement is a pre-announcement announcement. On Monday, there will be a Medium article going out which details some adjustments to the leaderboards in a positive way. So you're seeing the leaderboards right now, and some users are saying, well, this is wild, this is crazy, there's no way these people could possibly ever get this time. And we have a very intricate multi-tiered system going into place right now and some of it has already been in place, but we're also taking certain concessions and taking certain proofs to show which leaderboard times are the most we'll say legit, right? And clean it up. So we're going to start to clean it up, and at the same time we're going to reset some of the functions that you guys have said, oh, I can't play that anymore because it's been patched out or something like that. So some experiences on this Monday coming up will get their times reset on them. And the full details of this is going to come out in their medium.com article. Not too many, but some will do that. They're going to be super fast portions of experiences, I would wager, from what I've seen. And then we're going to have certain metrics that will help make sure that things like the chat bug that you guys are talking about literally won't matter anymore. It won't be a problem. Everything is going to get cleaned up super fast in the one significant update. So what you are seeing from the leaderboard, yeah, that's going to get shaken up, but also full details on this is going to come out on the Monday release. And then I'm sure we'll be back and chatting about it the whole time. All right, let me see here. John IIV saying, wait, so you're telling me that I've been playing each day without any interruption since the start of the season? So you're sure to end up in the top 10,000, but will not be able to claim the 60 sand because I live in Quebec City? I assume. I don't know what QC City is, but I'm going to assume it's Quebec. So I've been playing for nothing all this time? And also can't be part of the giveaways? John, what I am saying is that for those regions, we are not able to distribute to folks who are in those particular places due to the law. That said, you've been playing for, I assume, I hope, for fun, and you're enjoying your experiences. If you are not, let us know what we can do to make your experience better. Because one of the core things that's really going to take the sandbox to the top tier is to, and I said this before in a previous stream, and I'll say it, I'm sure, in the future, is to have the earning mechanics be a secondary thing that just happens to happen, if that makes sense. The play portion should be first and foremost. When I open up my Steam profile and I look at my Rocket League gameplay and I see I've got 2,000, 2,100 hours, whatever it is right now, in that profile, I don't play that game because I'm earning money. In fact, I often spend money in Rocket League. I don't earn anything at all. I'm just enjoying it, and I say, cool, I'm going to support the dev, and I give them some cash for a skin of something or whatever, right? But the game is good enough that that is the reward. And I hope that the Sandbox game can be that for you. If it isn't currently, what can make it that for you? You know, do we need to feature more experiences that are less platformy? Because if you're feeling like that's a less than desirable thing for you, then maybe there's something else, like a game like a Lucky Cat Land or the Music Mayhem from the Game Jam. Those are a little bit more like I would say like replayable, high speed, intense games versus some of these other experiences. And at the end of the day, the gameplay should be fun. The gameplay should be engaging, and we have some dynamic ways to help adjust like the way that the leaderboard works in general. And then we also have some pivots and changes as we're getting more user generated content in these experiences. You're starting to get more variety in the gameplay as well. But nonetheless, the feedback on that is going to be important, John, because we want to make sure that you're enjoying the experience and not just purely looking at it as an earning mechanic. The earning mechanic should be the secondary thing at the end of the day if you're going to run a games platform.
Yes, and we also do want to say that once again, these laws were already put in place before we could control anything. So this is something that has always been available, that has always been known. Unfortunately, this is just being pointed out right now,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
is something that is out of our control. I wish
Right.
that we could simply change this and simply change the mind, but once again, it's not in our control. And if we accepted a KYC, then we confirmed that you are a customer. We confirmed that you were a real human, not a bot. We didn't confirm that you were in an available country. That is not something, once again, with our control. That's not what the KYC was looking for. It wasn't looking
Right.
for whether or not you were available. It was looking for whether or not you were a human.
Right. And that's the thing is like when you ask like, so Dead Mac is asking over on Twitch, is saying I use a Brazilian KYC, but I live outside of Brazil. Can I still claim my rewards? I would say that at the end of the season, check, because I'm not gonna go individually as Joe for each individual user say what country are you in again and like be able to scroll down through the thing. It's important that you check on that. So check at the end of the season. If you have a reward that you are claiming and can claim and it's legal in your space, you're going to see the reward, you're going to be able to claim it and enjoy. You know what I mean? And I'm personally, as Joe, I'm on board with the same concept as Diraj saying I live on Earth. Like, yeah, I get that, right? But at the same time, from a business standpoint, you have to operate above, like in line with the law, right? So if we want to be available at all as a function in Russia, which was on the list, then we have to be sure that we follow the laws in Russia, which are more recently becoming more open to cryptocurrency. So all countries, I believe, at a certain point will go, oh, okay, and then get over it. But for now, we have to continue to operate in the law.
And our legal teams, of course, are always going to be fighting on your behalf to make it so this stuff can be still attended, can be still viable for you, regardless of wherever you are. We're still trying to make sure that you could get your rewards of any kind, whether or not it's an NFT, whether or not it's completely within the giveaway. So please, I know this may be upsetting news if you're just finding out now.
Yeah.
It is definitely not entirely on us.
And I want to continue, quite honestly, like I would jump into the game right now, but I do want to continue to address this because, and restate it even, Mustafa Diabase over on YouTube is saying, play for fun, for real? Who plays cryptocurrency games for fun? Okay. See, that's the thing, but that's what we're here for. We're here in an alpha, right? We're here in active development. We're here working with you as the community to make this fun, right? So if you're in these experiences and you're saying to yourself, like, this is a grind, I don't like this. That's what the feedback forums are all about, right? That's what this conversation is all about. Because when I go into a lot of these experiences, I mean, you saw it just yesterday when PandaPops, myself, we were playing with the dev of Lucky Cat Land. We're all having fun, right? We're competing against each other. We're enjoying our time. And if you're in that space and it's not your jam, it's not your vibe, whatever, like, let us know how we can adjust and change that. And then further so, Mustafa, if you believe that these games aren't fun, the Game Maker software is completely free. And you can come in and build a game that is fun. And what's going to happen from that is that later you're going to be able to publish that game, right? You're going to publish it in a game jam. Maybe you win thousands of dollars. You can use that to get a land, publish the game that you made in the game jam on your land. And now there's a game that is good. And if every other game is bad, if everybody feels just like you, right? Let's pretend like people don't like the platformers. I happen to like them. If you make a game that's different, engaging, and fun, people are going to want to play your game and they'll pay to play your game, right? And if they pay to play your game, then you, Mustafa, get to enjoy making money, making video games, because you could make something different. You could make something better. So the
primary platform of the Sandbox has always been play and have fun, and then also you can earn. Also, you can create a lifestyle, create a way of living, and be able to do that without any previous gaming experience.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're just in it for the money, unfortunately, you're going to have to put in some work. The leaderboard is brand new to us. We have a lot to learn, and oh boy, have we learned a lot this season.
Yeah,
and
you'll see changes to that on Monday. So
right. Leaderboard changes are coming soon, and if you're doing the chat bug exploit, in the mighty words of PandaPops, you are doing it for nothing. So,
yes, that was a quote just minutes ago when we were in a call with Panda. If you're doing the chat bug related stuff, you're doing it for nothing because it won't work. I mean, already it's not like working, but the leaderboard itself is going to show you that it's not working for you, and you are just wasting your time right now if you're trying to use exploits such as a chat bug. All right, let me see here. Trying to go through the chat.
Oh, I do have lots of questions. Ice Pilot wants to know, is there any speak of extending the season in any future updates that make the game unplayable? A lot of people have experiences stacking up, and I'm sure they're becoming quite worried about completing everything as the season ends.
Okay, so the idea of extending the season, we know each other pretty well, Ice Pilot, I think is the wrong approach. Why that is because currently we have a lot of users reporting that the season is too long, that it's, doing every quest, getting every EP might be too much, right? And we have metrics that go in all sorts of different directions, so we can really see how that translates to the end user and that sort of thing. So the appropriate direction, in my opinion, and we'll see where it goes, where the feedback comes in from the Alpha Season 4. A lot of people are going to report feedback at the end of the season, and we'll see if they happen to agree with this, but is to actually have like Season 4 Week 1 or something like that. Season 4 block, like Week 1 and 2 or something like that. And then you have those go in and a reward is issued, and then another one comes out. Right. And that allows us to patch during like the season shift in the middle of the season, right? Without patching in the middle of the thing. And it allows devs who make the games to patch their games on that day as well, so that you have this big push, and it would allow a longer leaderboard to not seem so taxing to some people who maybe showed up late or something like that, like you described, where they don't have as many quest points or EPs, or they got a bunch to go or something like that. So extending the season, I think, just takes the things that we've all noticed as a community together and said, let's just keep doing these things that aren't working, however they might not be working, right? If they're working great, nobody's ever going to talk about it. If they're not working, however, people are going to keep talking about it. So if we can finish the season out, then we can work on adjusting, improving, changing, and building and making it better for season number 4, just like we did when we changed from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. We're going to continue to do that from 3 to 4. So I think that's one of those things where, an IPEC saying don't want to see an extension for improving times on the leaderboard. Just a week would be super. So I'm kind of that those two things you're kind of saying that you want to see an extension and you don't. But I think at the end of the day, we're not going to see an extension. I'm going to be bold and say we're not going to see an extension in the leaderboard timer, because this leaderboard has allowed us to see a lot of different things, a lot of different functions, and have a lot of really great conversations and make some adjustments internally that need to be applied. And the only way to apply that is to finish out this season and start to make those development changes on our end that the community has asked for, right? Because as you've seen, quite frankly, when you issue something fast, if you issue a quick patch to fix a thing, right, you could end up breaking something else. But if we can have a longer form development outlook, then we can fix things in a really high quality way and make sure that it's out there for you in the best possible manner. So,
right. And I want to remind everybody that this is an alpha and we are not infallible. We hear your complaints and we're trying to do our best to address them and do better by you as a community. And once again, we are only the bridge to you. We can only deliver the news. We can't directly influence us as streamers.
All right, let's see here. Edward Snowden over on youtube.com. You're not the real one, though. Saying crypto is all about decentralization and freedom from regulation. The second half is not true. You can't avoid the law wherever you are. Just simply because you own a cryptocurrency does not mean you are free from regulation. You're not free from existing in your country because you can't create a sovereign nation within the internet at this time.
Us as a Web3 project are not banning unfriendly countries. We are just listening to those countries and saying, hey,
right,
please don't come after us.
Yeah, and it's like it's just listening to the laws of your country, right? And that's the thing is in any operation, any business, whether you're centralized or decentralized, your platform can get pulled out from under you, right? If you don't operate in a way that is in line with the law. So, if let's say, Quebec, Canada was on the list. Let's say, as a platform, we ignored their laws and we just did whatever we wanted. Quebec, as a region, could, by law, say all internet service providers can now not provide the Sandbox game to all of Quebec. And the lights go out for Quebec. And now they have no opportunity to even try to play the Sandbox game. They would have, it would only harden the laws in the long term to ensure that no one could ever play the Sandbox game, right? If we are accepting of the laws of these countries, then we can have the conversations with them and say, hey, this isn't really, it's not bad like you think. And then their laws will adapt. But if you go right in their face and you go, I don't care what you think, then you're going to end up just absolutely forever stuck not being legal, right? And we want to make this transition culturally, period, right? Cryptocurrency in general, if you're a pro crypto person, you're going to say, like, if you think Bitcoin is the future, ETH is the future, Sand is the future, whatever it is, then you have to be able to have a civil conversation with people who don't have any idea what it is, right? People who hold up their iPhone and say, can Google see what I'm reading? Is like, these people exist in legislature all over the world, right? So you have to work with those people to get them to understand it in normal layman's human terms in order to make that change happen. So to go in their face and be, you talk about things like freedom from regulation and things like that. It's like, unless you create your own sovereign nation, you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to get away from the reality that is any sort of government system.
Right. And once again, I want to remind everybody in the chat, your laws are known, and unfortunately, if this is just now being found out for you, there's nothing that we can do about it at this time.
Mhm.
We cannot change your government.
Yes. All right. Let's see
Now,
here.
Play Game for Fun has a question. For Alpha Pass Smurf, do we need to find Smurfette, that is in the beginning of the quest, or which quest gives, or which quest is the give? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's just taking a picture with Smurfette. It doesn't matter at what
Right.
quest you're on. Just take a picture with Smurfette and share that one. All right. Edward Snowden saying nobody, government, is telling them to ban this country, at least now. So why do they do that? Edward Snowden, you're actually incorrect about that. When a law is made, that automatically tells those people who are going to adhere to the law that you should not do the thing. And that's where, as candidly Kristen has mentioned, our legal team is going to advise us because their job is to look at your laws, right? And then they look at your laws, and your laws say that this can't be distributed there. And then our legal team is going to say, sorry, their laws say this can't be distributed there, right? So they are, governments, already telling peoples, groups, whatever, that these things aren't legal in those countries at this time. And we have to listen to that and be proactive about it in order to make sure that the platform can continue to be here for when they change their mind, right? Because I firmly believe that these countries are going to change their mind, if not tomorrow, eventually, right? But right now, again, you can't operate illegally as a business, especially as a multi-billion-dollar business like the Sandbox is. Ultimately, the platform is worth multiple billions of dollars, right? We can't operate illegally, because if we do, and one of those countries then does reach out and say, we can't do that, then it causes this big tumultuous volatility. It's not good for anybody, right? Nobody likes that. So you want to make sure that you're okay, you're good, you're above board, you're doing good in the law and not breaking laws intentionally, so, right? A lot of individual users, I mean, when I was like 16, I did that, right? I was like, oh, I know what this law is, but I don't care. I was 16 years old. I was dumb, quite frankly. I was dumb. And, the Sandbox can't be dumb. So,
Right. And Elsbrain, probably mispronounced that. Hi guys, how are you? I am trying to export some assets onto my inventory, but it's not letting me do it. Could it be for any update on the website? Thanks.
Yeah, sorry about that. My cat literally just got this container stuck around his head because he was trying to eat the scraps of bean burrito that I had earlier. And that was funny. I'm going to go close my door. Give me a second and then I'll answer that question.
No worries, no worries. And yes, chat, if you do have a question, please put question in front of it. It makes it a lot easier for me to see. And if you do ask one of those questions,
Okay.
for instance, repro, I do see it. I do have a list of questions. There's a lot of things we got to answer right now. So give us some time and please be nice inside the chat. We are only your messengers. We're only the bridge to the community, and we're doing our best to try and answer your questions.
Okay. Ted Max says, where can I speak to the Sandbox legal team? In Brazil, there's no law against cryptocurrencies. There may not be laws against, I just want to make it clear. There may not be laws against cryptocurrencies implicitly, but there may be laws against play to earn mechanics. Because, as I've used as an example before, if you are somebody who is under the age of 18 and you are playing games, great. Suddenly, when you add the earn mechanic, your country's laws might deem that to be child labor. And as soon as it's child labor, and you start earning as a child, then it's illegal, right? Had nothing to do with cryptocurrency. You could have paid a kid, to play Fortnite, but it still would have been illegal in that country. And so there are things outside of the fact that we are a cryptocurrency company that can affect these things. So keep that in mind, that it's not always just because a token exists or whatever. There are a variety of reasons why your country may list this, and you'll want to do your research and then reach out to your representative and say, hey, this isn't, it's not a big deal, or whatever the term may be that you have to use with your country, so that you can do what GWiz is us saying. Japan is bullish on crypto. And when the change happens, it's going to be instant like noodles.
Right.
I love instant noodles.
And Rico Tandy over on YouTube says, "Sir, my Twitter account got suspended. Can I change my Twitter for the follow events in Sandbox? So which Twitter account they have linked to the Sandbox?"
I think so. In the about you, or in your profile section here, you should be able to change that. Let me see. Nope. Where is it? Yeah, hit the pen, and then change your Twitter handle here. I don't know if you saw that. That was probably too fast. Click on your profile icon, click profile, and then above your Twitter handle and your address, click the pen, pencil, whatever, and then down here in the Twitter section, just change your Twitter handle to your current relevant Twitter. You should be good there.
Now, DeFry has a good question. I'm not sure if you see that.
Sure. Crypto was never illegal in Russia. Why are you lying? I'm not. Once again, the what I was saying was that Russia is loosening its laws with regards to crypto, in that they are actually actively embracing the use of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as a method of financial transit. We're not going to get into the political reasons why that exists.
Look, people, we want you to earn. We want you to be able to take part in these giveaways and be a part of it.
Yeah.
We just, as a company, cannot be in trouble with your country's laws. We cannot allow ourselves to have that sort of legal repercussions. So please understand that there is nothing that we can do directly, and our legal teams are fighting on your behalf. Being angry at TSB, being angry at us directly is not going to change anything.
Yeah.
If you're going to be upset at anybody, please go lobby. Please go be a fighter for Web3.
Right.
I'm on your side. I feel your pain. I see it. It is difficult to accept. It's difficult to understand, but it's something that has always been there. It's not something that has been brought up on the first day, the last day. It's something that has been in your laws this whole time.
I think
and if there's something that's minute that isn't directly saying that, you know, cryptocurrency is something that you can't have, and if there's something that our legal team found that would make it difficult for us, that we have just found out that we have to update, that's difficult. It's once again.
And the thing is that the rules section has always been there, right? It's been there since day one. Anybody could have read the rules, but you know, as with most of us, you know, I open a new video game and it does the thing, and it's like, here's your terms of service. I scroll to the bottom, I click OK, right? Well, that dynamic, maybe that changes when you're in a play to earn. Maybe reading the TOS is going to be more important at that point, right? If you're expecting to make an income or a revenue out of a space. If you're not playing it because it's fun and happen to earn, and this is where we kind of come back to that. If you're playing first because an experience is fun, then none of this really matters to you, right? You just be like, oh, that sucks. That's crazy, right? And you're enjoying it. You're enjoying the community. You're hanging out with us. We're having a good time. If you're playing it because you must make money, and then you can't legally make money, then this is probably more jarring for you. You're probably like, oh, you know, and that's where I would say make sure that you do your research, make sure that you look into what is legal, what is not legal in your country, because again, sometimes it's not about that it's crypto, right? In the Russia conversation, it's not about that it's crypto necessarily. It may be something completely different, but based on the way the dissemination exists. Like in the United States, the Securities Exchange Commission is reviewing which type, like literally between the currencies that are in the top 100 on CoinMarketCap, probably 40 of them right now are getting like drilled as, are you a security? Meaning like, you know, is it a direct dividend reward yield for investment in this company over here, right? If it is not, if it is a currency truly, then it can't be moderated by a Securities Exchange Commission. So, you know, is Bitcoin a currency? And those conversations have to happen. And we're still that early where it's not actually clear. It's not clearly on paper regulated, right? And so certain countries are going to go, this is not okay. And you as a citizen of that country, where you have the opportunity, can speak up about that. Now, The really cool thing about crypto, because it is so young, it is so new, there's none of that like weird line in the sand thing from what I've seen. Doesn't like, if you look at the cryptocurrency community, it's super diverse. There's a lot of people, of course, that are very like uh anti-government folks. I don't care what side of whatever lines you draw in your countries there are. There are a lot of people that are like that. They're pro crypto. There are also people who are like very pro taxation, right? Pro whatever, that are like the opposite of that anti-government mindset, that are also still pro crypto. And so I think that's the cool thing. That's the unique thing. It's like it doesn't have to be this thing, regardless of what country you're in or what your country's like hard lines are. Cryptocurrency is really not even on the map. They're just like, well, we don't know what it is, so we don't like it. And so if you can educate them on what it is and what the value is and what the benefits are, then you can change the game. And there's, of course, none of this has to do with the sandbox. And it goes back to that point where our terms of service is only going to reflect what your laws are. It's not going to reflect our choice, because at the end of the day, if you go watch Yatsu, which is the CEO of the parent company, he's going to say, we want individual decentralized access. We want decentralized freedom, right? You talk to Sebastian's in all these conferences, and he's saying, we want individual ownership. We want decentralization. We want to spread it out evenly amongst all of the people, right? And it's like all of us feel the same way. And along the way, as we get there, we have to show that it's possible and show that it's not immoral to do so, right? You have to show your country that this is okay. It's fine. It's just some games, right? I happen to earn. Just like when, and usually you equate that by saying, look at this mobile game where I can earn their premium currency just by playing. That premium currency has an intrinsic value, but you can't sell it back for dollars. And that's the only difference here. Like, you can earn the premium currency just by playing incidentally here. But in our case, you can sell it back for dollars or whatever your local denomination is. And so that's where, that's usually the crux where governments will go, well, it's different. But if you can start to show them that it's not different, that it does equate to other platforms that already exist, that they've already legalized, then you can make the change that you want to make in the world. Until then, we have to continue to operate in the law.
And that, to that point of being fully decentralized, things are changing every single day. We're not exactly going to be able to have a full list of TOS that is proper day one and have that be exactly what it is within line with all countries' laws, especially over a 10-week period where we're having this leaderboard. Things are going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, a lot of these things are out of our control.
Okay, I want to answer a question from John IIV on Twitch TV, because I think this is a really good question. And I'm going to give you the answer as Joe, because I think I can give you the best answer versus the Sandbox game answer. You say. So, with what we've been told this week, the Alpha Season Pass has been available to buy on Opensea. My country doesn't allow winning a pass because it's considered gambling. It would mean I could purchase one, so it's not gambling. Since I'm KYC approved, I will get the 500 sands at the end of season. John, I would say that because I don't know what country you're in, because I don't know the laws of your country, it is best for you to do one of two things. Either first, never invest money you can't afford to lose. So let's assume, and this is Joe telling you this because I've lost money that I've invested as Joe. Nothing to do with the sandbox. Don't buy a pass if you believe that there is, or if you're unwilling to take the risk that you could possibly not earn due to the laws in your country, right? Because it could be that you don't have the opportunity to claim due to the laws in your country. I don't know what country you're in, and I don't know those laws, right? As Joe, it would be difficult for me as an individual to go do that research, but you live in your country, you know your country's laws, you can do the research to see if it's legal for you to do that. And then beyond that, still understand that there is some moderate risk involved, right? Because you are hoping that your research is good enough to have gone through all of the laws of your country to see that that is acceptable. And that's where, again, culturally speaking, it's better to change the culture in your country, right? There's going to be lots of people that are on board with the concept of crypto, especially as we get further from the differentiation, when we stop saying Web3 and we start just saying gaming, right? Then it helps push that mentality out of government, where they go like, oh, it's just gaming. They got their own little thing going on. But yeah, then it's JVN says, could you tell whether the leaderboard rewards are affected by this? All rewards are affected by the laws of your country. Can you play to earn at all? That may be one of the mechanics. Can you get an NFT? That may be one of the mechanics. But once again, I don't know the laws of each individual nation, so it's not appropriate for me to answer that question. You'll want to do the research on your individual nation to know whether you're eligible to win or not. And in which case, you know.
Otherwise, the easiest way to tell for now is we have to trust in our legal team that advised us to go ahead and put these countries on a ban list. Unfortunately, it is something out of our control. And please, chat, once again, I see your insults. We're just the messenger. We don't control these things.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, it's yeah, we're if we didn't, let's pretend that the Sandbox didn't listen to the law, right? And if you are joining us from Russia, hopefully this or any other country that was on the list, but I'm just using Russia off the top of my head because I can remember it was on the list. If you're joining us from Russia and the Sandbox game chooses to ignore Russian law, what happens next week, right? Or the week after the rewards go out? All of a sudden you're in our Discord and you're saying, why can't I get on Sandbox.game? Because Russia said, oh, you awarded these rewards and we're turning off access to the Sandbox game in our country. And they just ubiquitously, you're never able to go here ever again. You wouldn't be able to load the game client. You would have 0% chance of ever using the Sandbox.game. So we want to adhere with those laws. We want to listen to the law until such time as the law changes. When the law changes, then we can open it up and say you can earn because, yay, Russia changed the laws or whatever that may be, right? But that time must come. I believe that time will come. It's a matter of time because cryptocurrency is not temporary. But I think we all are on that same page. We would all agree that cryptocurrency is the future in general. So,
right.
Yeah. Now, Mustafa Davies says, so if I win in the top 10,000 and my country is banned, would these tokens stay in my account but unclaimable, or I lose them at all? That's a good question. I will try to ask about that, because a part of me wants to say, and I'm not totally sure, that it would sit there pending and you wouldn't be able to claim it, but that your account access would, just in case you move to another country. But I'm not totally sure, because on the other hand, accounting-wise, distribution is the point that the transaction happens. So from an accounting perspective, you probably wouldn't ever be able to claim it. But I don't know. I'm not an expert. So
unfortunately, I don't have a law degree.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm going to take that note and I'm going to try to ask somebody who might know.
Right.
And that
we will take your feedback.
Can take a long time.
We will take everything that everyone is saying today and we will pass it along. We do our best, and we know that, oh my goodness, there's a lot of time spent. We know that people haven't been investing in this leaderboard. We know that this is news to you and to a lot of people. We feel your pain. We are on your side. We're proponents for you to get your rewards. We're proponents for you to earn. We're proponents for your country to change its mind, and we want it to be decentralized. For this to be brand new news to you is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. As Conrad, I'm sorry.
When I look at like Native Odello over on YouTube, you're saying for many people, I think the problem is not that they will not be able to earn, but that they're not getting what they were promised in the beginning. And the reality is, Native O, you are getting exactly what you were promised at the beginning. The rules has not changed, right? That section is exactly the same as it was on day one. And that's disappointing. That's frustrating to hear. I know that. That would bother me. I can tell you for sure that I live in Washington State, United States. If you don't know how the US works, it's basically like a bunch of mini countries that all pretend to be one country. We have individual state laws that supersede federal laws, and vice versa. I can't use Binance at all. The tool that the Sandbox game launched Sand token on, I can't use it because of Washington State's laws, which are, in my opinion, overbearing. If I was to subvert those laws, well, I'd be breaking them, right? So if the Sandbox opened up a Binance thing on our land, on the Binance lands, where trade was possible, Joe couldn't use it until Washington, my state, changes its law. And that's just the way that is. It's not something that the Sandbox can change. It's something that the Sandbox just has to say, okay, here's the rules. And that's why in the rules, 3 states in the United States are listed as places where people can't claim, because those states have those overbearing laws. And those laws can change over time, but it requires educated people having the conversation with uneducated people that are representing them, right? In my opinion. So yeah, the rule did exist, and it happens that not everyone looked at the rules. In fact, I would wager most people didn't look at the rules, but that doesn't change the laws, right? And so in order for us to continue to exist and to not have companies like the Adidas, the Ataris, the Warner Media Groups, the Walking Deads walk out the door, we have to be in with the law. And anybody who owns a land doesn't want to see those people walk out the door. Anybody who owns sand doesn't want to see those people walk out the door. Anybody who has played in this alpha doesn't want to see those people walk out the door, which means we need to be legally compliant. All right. So it's a good chat. It's a good conversation, whether it's a desirable outcome, of course. But yes.
Right.
It is.
Joe, can you at least load up the game behind you here? We're at least going to get into the game
Sure.
while we continue to answer these questions.
Can do. What was I going to... There was a thing. I was going to climb that tower today, chat, but PandaPops didn't join us.
And I have a question over there from YouTube. Ding Dong Guan says, question, why are people don't use VPN? That's not financial advice. Please do your own research. I'm not sure what that would do. I'm not sure how that would help. I'm not sure if that would help. But yeah. Celestial Photography says, trying to claim a Steve Aoki avatar reward, 60 sand. Each time I try and claim, I get an error saying I'm out of free transactions. Why can I not pay for the transaction myself?
When you get the pop-up before you click the claim button, you can or should be able to choose on the right side. There's a little green tick thing that turns off gasless transactions. If you don't see that on that screen, then on Thursday, I think. No, maybe it's not Thursday. I forget what day it is. Maybe it's Tuesday. You'll get your gasless transactions back, which are the same ones you would use on the staking portion of the website. There, you'll get 10 free ones. The question comes in from Sulout852. Does China include Hong Kong and Macau? Well, that depends on who you ask in China, quite frankly. China, it has a one China policy. So whether you're talking about Hong Kong or Taiwan or Macau or other regions, the Chinese government believes that that is China. Whether those states or city-states believe that as well, that's not for me to decide. However, enforcement is... That's a great question that I can't answer. It's a great question. I honestly, I could really appreciate that. E.G. Pratama, forgive me for destroying your name. I'm so sorry on YouTube there. So how could the Sandbox tell which country or each user by country by KYC? I can say that the Sandbox does not store your KYC information. The KYC information is done via a third party. And so we do not have knowledge of your individual country as a practice, but distribution, there are multiple methods by which distribution could moderate that.
Right. Chat, take a deep breath for a second. I'm going to put out 2 forms. You get to fill them both out. Each
All
one of
right.
these forms. So one of these forms, this first one is for a purple Wizzy Enhanced Hat NFT. And the second form is going to be for an Alpha Pass. We're going to do them both at once. They're going to be 2 separate. Make sure to fill them both out. I'll send them both out here in just a moment. We're still going to be going through your questions. There's a lot of them. We are in for a long ride, but we also have meetings that we have to attend to and work that we have to do, but we're going to try and get to as many questions as we can today.
Yeah, we'll go for probably the next 35 minutes here, as I have a scheduled appointment literally as soon as it's 11:30. So I need to get down to that, and that's my local time, so forgive me, chat. But let's see here. Karthik, in Alpha Season 2, I was able to claim rewards, and I'm from India, so were there any rules? I assume you mean to say rule changes between Alpha Season 3 and Alpha Season 2. Once again, Karthik, I would stress that any changes to our rules are only a reflection of your laws. So we are going to be reflective of your laws in our practice.
Right. And we're only the messengers for what our legal team is advising and putting on that TOS.
Right. And that's at the end of the day, those things can change, assuming that the law in your region changes. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, and Onaboat says, if I were to develop a game in Game Maker, how would I go about promoting it? Getting people to play my game?
Well, quite honestly, you would go about promoting it in the same way that anybody else does, and that is to say, make social media accounts for your games, promote, advertise, connect, get into Twitter Spaces calls, get into all sorts of things. Like, you have to make sure that you have established yourself a little bit to help build that push. But we have people who establish organically very easily here in the Sandbox game. At the end of each live stream, if you are live streaming the Sandbox game when we finish this show, we like to raid people in a priority of people we've never raided before to help give you the bump. So if you are creating the assets, or you just finished creating the assets, you've got the game experience, whatever, and you want to do a live demo show or something like that, you can always reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to come and raid you or organize some kind of time, or maybe have a conversation about it. People tag me all the time on Twitter, and I retweet those things, and it tends to start to build that bubble. One good example of this, I would say off the top of my head, is King of Crypto. King of Crypto is a community member that, just came in like you, hung out. They learned about the Game Maker software, and then they went from there to building a nice, decent little Twitch group, right? A group of people who are subscribing to them. They made some different NFTs since then, series of NFTs, a bunch of games, some of which have won Game Jam awards, some of which haven't, and built it all up organically. And then from there, got to take it to that next level. So having a good plan is always essential, right? Not just making a thing and saying well, why didn't people buy it? And typically you're going to want to have some kind of a budget to expose your product to people who don't know who you are at all in a certain way, right? Like a marketing budget of something. If you project you can make 5,000 or something like that off of this experience in a variety of ways, and there's lots of different ways you can monetize. Then you put that out there with 8 to 10% of that being a marketable budget, and then you recoup your revenue that way. But once again, if you make a good experience that's compatible with a game jam, you could also get your kind of starter funds that way. So there's lots and lots of different avenues of approach, but the first core thing is establish your community, because if people don't know that you exist, they're not going to suddenly know you exist just because you launched a game.
Right. And to that effect, when we're out of alpha, we normally do play all of your games live. We try and break them. We try and give you advice on what can take them to that next level.
Yeah. Sarman Ketty asking a question right now in the chat. Joe, what's your Twitter? It is the handle in the description below this video, or the title itself, at TheVisionEX is on there. You got Rad Condat on there as well, so you can follow us if you like. And usually, like I said, more than happy to give people the bump. If I see something cool, I'm going to share it. I
Right.
could be laying in my bed, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter 1 a.m, and I'll be like, oh, that's cool, share, you know. Getting tags is nice. Just keep in mind that I do get a lot of tags, so sometimes I don't see something. That's okay. But also, I get a lot of tags for some junk too, you know. So be careful if you're looking at people who have tagged me. You know, people will tag me with nonsense, fake projects all the time too. So, got a bunch of different stuff.
So I want to press once again that the rules did not change. Carter, specifically. And also, my job and Joe's job is to do testing in the sandbox. So to say that you spent more time in the sandbox than the two of us, unfortunately, we don't get to be on that leaderboard, and we get to put in our 40 hours a week. We get to put in our time.
And the thing is, when you I understand the frustration, right? Like, let's throw out all the because I would consider some of those things to be like direct attacks, and I'm gonna just ignore that happened. The law in your country has always been the way that it is. The rules that we set in place were there from day one, and most people, you are just like me. You saw a terms of service and went click accept whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that you didn't read it. That doesn't mean them any less true, right? Every person is still subject to the terms of service, subject to the laws of their country, regardless of whatever it may be. And then I'm going to defer back because the first line that you're saying that you spent 2 times more time sandboxing this season than the two of you. I don't care that you spent more time than us necessarily, but I want to stress this. You spent time playing the game. Would you say that that's a bad thing? And if so, why would you say that it's bad? Because if you play the experience and it's not fun, and you can tell us why and what would make it better, then the next time you play in the season, you're going to enjoy your time. Because I read that sentence as somebody who didn't actually enjoy playing, right? You played 18 hours a day to earn. And you didn't play 18 hours a day because you had fun. So when I go back to playing, you know, you see people who play League of Legends like 18 hours a day all the time, right? And they're not getting to the World Championships. They're not getting prize money. They're not getting college scholarships or doing any of that. They're just playing because it's a fun game. I play Rocket League because it's a fun game. Heck, I played RuneScape for like 18 hours a day for many years, right? Just because it's fun. So at the end of the day, we want to make the sandbox into that experience for you, where you want to play that 18 hours a day because you love the community or whatever, right? And we have some community members who are in this chat right now who are absolutely those people, right? They're playing every day because they love the community, love the people, the experiences in it, and they want to make it better and more fun next season. So let's do that together rather than come through, you know, because we didn't suddenly change the rules. We did not suddenly change the laws. Those things already existed or
It's
happened in your
possible
country.
that your country may have suddenly changed rules or laws,
Right.
but we're just doing what the legal team has advised.
We are adhering to the law, listening and saying, yeah, okay, because we have to. In order for you to be able to even have access to the website sandbox.game at all, we have to listen to the laws in your country. If you disagree with those laws in your country, while it may be difficult, you have an opportunity to leave your country and go to one where the laws are different and they're more compatible with your feelings, right? That a lot of people do that all over the world. People emigrate all the time. And I've thought about doing that myself, quite frankly. Living in Washington, I'm like, should I go somewhere else? I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's see here. Play games for fun says, question, I publish some assets and I cannot see them in the Game Maker. Is there any solution? So if you push them to the website at sandbox.game, you're not actually able to see them in the Game Maker until you start to go through the steps. So when you get to step number 3, right before you're supposed to mint, which general user can't mint right now, but that step right before then is when you're actually able to preview that in the Game Maker. So go make sure you go on the website, check out your assets section, and then go through the publishing steps until you get one step before then, and then go ahead and reload it in the Game Maker. It should work that way. All right.
Right. And once again, there are going to be some questions that we just simply don't have a good answer to, or an answer that you might not want to hear.
All right, let's see here.
But let's go on here. Vox Editor says, have there been any updates regarding a betting system?
Regarding a betting system?
Betting, so gambling.
Not explicit updates. It's something that we continue to want to explore. But the things that we need to have in place before that's possible is in a specific age gating system. Obviously, we have KYC now that's in place, which is a form of an age gate. But also, many countries are going to request that, regardless of the fact that we have KYC, the function of entering an experience at all needs to have a verified you're 18. Whether that be the same way that certain websites may have it, where they say like, yes, I am 18, click every time you join the game, or something like that. That needs to be in place. And yet still, I don't believe that we have certain regional restrictions in terms of in the game itself. So that would need to be implemented, because some will not allow it at all. And so there would have to be a back-end integration of, if this function is put into your experience at all, then the result is this list of countries can't join your experience at all, right? So if you don't allow online gambling whatsoever in your country, then your country would have to be on that denial list. And then that denial list is going to happen off of a variety of factors, one of which being, what is your IP address localization? If that is in country that is restricted, then automatically, no, you can't, right? And so those things don't exist currently in the Game Maker. But when you start to see those mechanics on the back end, those things would be there as well. And that's going to be core to make it possible. All right.
Right.
Whew. TMO Photo says, the missing parts chapter 1 is not fun. It was the biggest waste of time the Sandbox allowed in any of the alphas. Now, let me take that. You know, TMO Photo, I appreciate that sentiment, and in part, maybe I could see that. Like, I get where you're coming from. But TMO Photo,
Not very much fun.
I don't know if you joined us on the official Thursday live stream. I don't know if it was last week, maybe the week before, but PandaPops and myself narrated that experience live. Like, page for page, read through that experience and narrated it live. And that was a lot of fun. Like, it's a story. It's a heck of a story. It's maybe a little bit of a love story. I don't know. It was pretty sus, not gonna lie. But it was funny as heck.
And as somebody who doesn't care for a narrative and only wants good gameplay, I skip past all of that good dialogue.
Let's see here. Mustafa
And
Diabetes says
It wasn't great for speedruns.
asking, are the laws and rules in place in season 2 and 1? The answer to that question is, which country are you in, and were those laws existing in your country? Because the Sandbox has been around for a few years and laws change. And country, you live in different places.
And once again, we do not store the KYC. We did that with a third-party company who is not going to keep that information. So, I want to remind everybody that stress is a killer, and feelings are not final, and to remember that there is always a tomorrow, and it's going to be okay regardless. There's a lot of things that we can't control, a lot of things that I myself can't control, and I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'm sorry you're feeling anger. I'm also feeling anger, and I'm also feeling for your pain. But unfortunately, I can't change that. Joe can't change that. TSP cannot change the laws. We're only doing what is advised by the legal team and doing the best that we can to make the alpha go well and make sure that when we go into a full release, that the game is something that is good for everyone.
Question comes in from Besmir369 over on youtube.com saying, will there be any open social hubs after the season ends? In the last season, season 2 to season 3, we had intermittent, like, sort of mid-season offerings that we put out there. So you may see something like that, where we'll have social hubs, or we'll have special events, or have special experiences between seasons. And to some effect, this is to test new features. Sometimes it's just because we want to feature some new stuff, right? Or have some fun in a different way in those experiences. So I would expect that you could see those. There's no confirmation on that at this time, but that's mostly because we're heavily focused on what is happening live in season 3, and then a different group of people is looking heavily at exactly what we're doing in season 4, and the middle part is going to be moderated by people who are actively working on season 3 stuff right now. All right, let's see here. Gary Adrianto asking, I'm not even going to read the whole thing, but I just want to highlight this part. Is the new rules about? These rules are not new. Go check them out. Sandbox.game. You can see it in the section right here that says rules. This page has not changed since day 1 of the alpha, so go check it out. And you'll see those details. G. Augusto, what happens if half the leaderboard is restricted? The leaderboard would change. And I believe. Now, I'm not going to say that because I could be wrong about that. It depends on what the laws are regarding distribution. And if they have an opportunity to claim it at a later period, I'm not going to get the final answer on that yet. I took a note that says, so if I win the leaderboard in the top 10,000 and my country is banned, would these tokens stay in my account? I'm going to ask that question very explicitly, and we'll see if I get an answer on that or if I get a lot of not sures, because once again, even the folks who work here aren't lawyers, right? We have a legal team and advisory that's going to have the best answer on that.
Okay.
All right.
And to continue on with questions here, can the people that are on this list still sell the NFTs?
Can you sell NFTs? That's
Can
up
you
to
sell NFTs if you are on that ban list?
That's like, once again, unfortunately, I have to defer to, does your country allow you to sell NFTs? Do you even know what that law is, if it exists? And if it does exist and you don't know it and you have been doing it, have you been breaking the law in your country? You have to do that research, right? As an individual, you have to do that research to know if your country has allowed or disallowed NFTs, cryptocurrencies, etc., etc. That is not something that I can individually tell you for a fact, yes or no, because I can't do the research for whatever it is, 250 nations across the world, 170, 180 of which being sovereign countries with, constitutions. I can't do the research on that, unfortunately. I would love to know, to be fair. I'm actually like a huge civics nerd, but there's no way my brain could keep track of it. Orange Bear 0423 leaves a funny comment that I want to point out because I got to laugh about it. Saying, I believe this is the worst live ever for both Radcondad and Joe, aka #CanFriend. And I gotta confirm, it's not. Actually, there have been worse. This is something where people are asking real questions, and they're good questions. And we're gonna give the best and most complete answer that's possible to give. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where I'm not gonna say that. Check out the rules section, right? Like, as we sign up for all these cryptocurrency companies that exist, read their TOS, because if money matters, then money matters, right? And if your time is valued, then check out your TOS and make sure that you're not wasting that time. Because I, once again, can't control what country you're in, but I can do the best to affect the things that I can affect, right? The things that happen in the sandbox game. I spent a good amount of this week in calls with people. I know PandaPops has spent twice as much time at least in calls with people, specifically talking about the leaderboard, specifically talking about when you guys were saying it's impossible for like speedrunners to get these good times, right? Things like that. And we've been in these conversations intently, like watching videos, like getting feedbacks, pulling information, taking polls, doing these sorts of things to make sure that the leaderboard is at a high level, right? And those are the things that we can affect. We can affect the leaderboard going into the end of the season, into season 4. We can affect the game experiences that are in there. So all those kinds of conversations are super valid. But again, there's nothing I can do about your country's law. I can only change what the sandbox can change, what the sandbox can build around your country's law. So yeah, so it's not that bad.
I was just asked a good question, Joe. How am I on your side? I'm on your side because I want a decentralized platform. I want the world to have decentralization. I want the sandbox to have decentralization. I have been a proponent for that, and that's why I joined the Sandbox team. If the Sandbox itself cannot do the things that are within your country and have to change things mid-season, mid-leaderboard, if we have struggles mid-season, mid-leaderboard, well, I'm also frustrated. I'm also a human being. I'm also a player in the
Sure.
Sandbox. I am right alongside of you. If I'm not on your side, then, well, I simply wouldn't be here. I simply wouldn't care. But I
Right.
do care. This
Right.
is frustrating, and we're trying our best to make it right and to answer these questions.
Sure. And that's the thing, right? It's you're spot on to say that, you know, we get these comments, and when somebody says, you know, this is literally for us the worst stream ever, I disagree, because what we do here on this show, when we give you feedback about your game, it's not because like we want to be negative or something like that. We want to make sure you have a higher quality game so that you have a better result. When you give us feedback on the alpha, I don't take that as negative. You could say everything sucks, and I'm not going to just take that and go, oh, well, everything sucks. I'm going to say, why does it suck? How can we make it better? How do we improve this platform in the long term, right? And so together, like you and us, we are going to watch, like work together in the community. We're going to read the chats. We're going to do the thing to make it so that what we can affect, we're going to change. What we can't affect, that you could affect in your country, we're going to encourage you to do that. And so that between 2022 and 2024, I hope that half the countries on that list, just they're not on that list anymore because the countries woke up, right? They changed the law. And I think that that's already happening, right? I mean, when you see entire countries start to make their base currency as Bitcoin, you're seeing a revolutionary change that it would have been unheard of if we were going back to 2016 when I first started in this space. You know, people would have just been like, no way, right? But rather than us as a community, us as people say this is bad, you know, we need to figure out what can we affect, what can we change, and change what we can change so that we can move it forward in the future. So, you know, we are on the side of the gamer because we are gamers. Like, Conrad joined this because I said, hey, come play this video game. Like, let's do this. Let's play this video game. And he was like, okay, as a community member, joined. And then we brought him onto the show because he had experience being a producer. And I joined in this, like you, by watching Alex's live stream. And I was a community member. I bought some land. I bought some sand. I started making some stuff, played around with the tools super early. And then I came onto the show, right? So I'm not this ethereal being. I'm just a guy, you know what I mean? I'm like you in the community, and we're building a better community together. This product is significantly better than it was when I first started. The Game Maker didn't exist when I first started. And I've only seen it grow and get better because of the feedback we can go back and forth. All right. PandaPops replying to my question that I asked to leave for myself. Some staff are currently looking into the question: if I win in the leaderboard's top 10,000 and my country is banned, would those tokens stay in my account but unclaimable, or would I lose them? They're saying staff are currently looking into this. All right.
Okay. Are the people that are on this ban list going to be removed from the leaderboard?
I saw that question, and that is a question that's related to the same thing that I took a note of. So that question is basically the same as the question we got earlier. I took this note. So if I win in the leaderboard's top 10,000 and my country is banned, would these tokens stay in my account but be unclaimable, or lose them at all? Panda's reply just now says this question has been floating around in our internal chats, and some staff are currently looking into this. So same question, or different question, kind of same answer. Diaries of Marie, I appreciate the comment saying, way to go, you guys. This is the banter that needs to be in full transparency. I appreciate you for recognizing that, because I try to reinforce as often as possible that every person who's involved in every company, every group, we're all human beings, right? So it's nice to see that positive feedback, because I just, you know, just trying to do and get constructive feedbacks as best we can, and then establish the parts where we really are out of control, and that like the sandbox cannot change the laws in Japan tomorrow. We can't walk in and go, "You're wrong, senator," or whatever they have. Forgive me. You know, we have to adhere to those laws. So.
Right.
All right, Samurai. Oh, I love your name.
Closing down the forums.
I love your name. Samurai L. Jackson over on twitch.tv says, is Sandbox aware of the performance issues on the Sandbox game? We are absolutely. So we issued an update to 0.7.7 that appears to be leaving server-side memory caching issues. When we repaired some other things that were popping up from 0.75, 0.76, now 0.77 update has fixed some of the things from 0.75 and 6, but 7.7 is having some issues. Usually, unfortunately, what's been happening is there will be a good like 20 minutes of like clean connectivity, and then there would be like 10 minutes of weak, less than desirable connectivity. I think that I, from a technical level, know the reason, but I'm not in charge of managing that process itself. We'll probably see a server-side hotfix, something that you guys won't have to download that should fix it. Maybe there will be a download in the coming days, but if there is, I'll let you know. Absolutely.
Right, and so as far as anybody having issues with the server and maybe not being able to save in the Game Maker, do we have any solutions for them?
Okay, yeah. Unfortunately, if you can't save in the Game Maker, I really think that it's probably just going to be related to that server like pop, that sort of hitching in there. So I would say, I mean, you probably already have tried 2 or 3 times, but wait 10 minutes, just leave the client open and then try to save again. Because I think that from what I've seen so far, the response time is better during certain bursts. And again, I think this is because of cache and temporary data that might be clogging up either the RAM or the CPU's L2, L3 cache on a server. But I don't know, because I can't look at the analytics on that. But that will result in a good connectivity over a certain period of time. Yeah, that's the best advice that I could give for now, unless you see a hotfix come down. Maybe just leave. I don't know. A lot of people turn off their computers. I'm a nerd. I literally never turn my computers off, so I could just leave the Game Maker open forever. But yeah, let's see here.
So Metasander has a question. My game is stuck on downloading assets and the bar isn't moving even though it's using internet. Been like that for an hour. What can I do?
Okay, so if you're having an issue where it keeps trying to download and download and download, you can clear your cache or temporary data inside your users folder. The Discord, somebody already has, one of our ambassadors, probably Jazzwolf, already has this on a copy paste, or candidly Kristen would, where the exact file location is, but let me see if I can get there really quickly. I don't know. See users, your computer's name, app data, local low, and then you'll have one that says TSB Gaming, and the Sandbox or the Sandbox Maker, whichever one is affecting yours, will have cache data. You can kill this.
Hey,
it's going to re-download it.
Metasander says, yeah, found it, and it worked. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Great.
Oh, there's Sandy Christian.
Yeah, there we go.
There it is.
Or either library caches username, if it's on Mac. There we go. Then delete the TSP Gaming folder. Thank you, candidly Kristen. You are wonderful. Alpha troubleshooting number 4, copy paste. Yeah.
TMO Photo says, does the leaderboard only show accounts that have finished KYC?
I think so at this point. I'm pretty sure that was solved after like week 2, but I don't 100% know, to be honest with you, because I don't have to look at that side of things very often, if at all. We asked about it a lot early, and you notice the leaderboard shifted significantly around like week 2 of the season. But I think so. Let's see here. Is there any way to save the favorites and hotbar when updating the Game Maker version? I don't believe so, Pickaxe Master, at this time, because again, that is cached or temporary data that's related to the server or the version of the GM in that same folder we just mentioned.
So there is no TSB Gaming folder on Mac. Do we have a solution for our Mac people?
Well, there is. It's it's in the thing that Candidly Kristen pasted just a little bit ago, which is under uh, tilde
Oh, here we go.
library
It was
caches or users username here library applications for
either.
TSV gaming on Mac.
Here we go. I will just copy paste that because it didn't go out to YouTube. Thank you so much, Candidly Kristen.
Kintor, the legal team wasn't drunk when they put Germany on that list. Like I said, sometimes you run into different issues. Let's say if your country is like mine, they may find that a game, they literally could have biases purely on the fact that it is game and earn, right? Like Japan, you simply can't play and earn at all. In America, if somebody who's under 18 has a reasonable chance of possibly playing and earning, you could have your experience get banned for child labor laws. And maybe that's what's happening, right? I don't know the exact specifics, but I know that individually that research must be done on your side. And then if you vehemently disagree with it, like I think most people in the cryptocurrency community disagree with it, if you can say reasonably to a senator or whatever your representative's name is, you say, this is like V-Bucks from Fortnite, then they may go, oh, okay, and change the law, right? But you always have to speak with your representative because quite frankly, there's nothing anybody here can change that's going to change your laws, right? It's got to be your people in your space that make that change. All right. Haitong Chen over on YouTube saying, I also feel that the lag in the parkour can't successfully complete the task. We understand, and we're working on that patch right now. We saw this come out, and there was a little bit of hitching at the beginning, and then it seems to have gotten a little bit progressively worse. So we believe it's related to cache or temporary data that's happening in the server. So if we can consistently flush that without, then we can fix the lag spike situation. All right, Randuxy saying it doesn't exist on my Mac 9, and yes, I have access to hidden folders. If the folder doesn't exist, then maybe you installed it in a different location. Like, did you use a default install location? I know that the temporary data should probably store in that, but Play Game for Fun says if you type Shift Command period, you'll show your hidden files. Maybe you accidentally had hit that or something. John IIV question: can we still win the Wizzy hat since it's not an alpha pass but an NFT, or is that in the giveaway rules? The Wizzy themed hat is a giveaway from Alex Florez to the community directly. He is the original host of the shows of the Sandbox game. He is here on Saturdays and Wednesdays still. That distribution is not the Sandbox game distribution. It is something that Alex Florez gives away on all Sandbox official streams, meaning different rules, different strokes for different folks, okay? You can still win a Wizzy hat. Yes.
Right, and Play Game for Fun says, I published some assets and cannot see them in the Game Maker. Any solution?
Yep, same conversation that I mentioned earlier. If you've already published them, make sure that you go to the click on your account inventory. I think I'd have to probably double check with this. I got my tree that I have unpublished. Mine says pending minting approval. I made this way too long ago. It's got way too many faces and it's ugly. It shouldn't actually be a piece, but nonetheless, here I could submit the status request back then, but there's a 4-step process to submitting an asset, and you'll want to get to step 3 and finish step 3 before it'll be viewable inside the Game Maker itself. If you want to know what that process is exactly, you can click Create, you can click VoxEdit, and there are export asset tutorials here on this page.
And Childan says, is there any plan to integrate gem levels for equipment on Opensea to facilitate shopping for assets?
Okay, I'm sorry, ask that one more time.
Is there any plans to integrate gem levels, so the actual, power, defense, luck, and magic on equipment on Opensea?
As a search function, right? You want to find assets by a certain amount of power, I imagine. Good suggestion. Let's see if we can.
I would love to do that. That's quality of life stuff that we are attempting to do and would love to do, and that kind of feedback is something that we like to hear. That way we can make this game better for when we actually have a full release.
Okay. I put in a suggestion here, and I'm going to send it off to the team before the end of the day, and we'll see if we can get that done. I'm not totally sure if we can, but we do have a pretty short pipeline for Opensea staff to get an answer at least, and we'll see.
And of course, what about these leaderboards? Is people getting taken off the leaderboard at the end of the season, or what's going to be happening there, Joe?
The leaderboards will change, but they're going to start to change on Monday. So you may find that certain experiences on this coming Monday have had their leaderboard times reset. If that is the case, then you can recomplete that and it'll be finished real quick. It's not going to be a ton of them, but just the ones where we all know that there was like that day with the chat bug and things like that, times that are really exorbitantly ridiculous, right? Like if you're completing Dracula's Castle experience that normally takes 10 minutes and you can get it done in like 28 seconds, then that time might get reset. But if you can legitimately complete that in that time, you may be able to also submit an appeal to that with video proof. This is how I did it. And then that time can be added back into that leaderboard space. But for now, you'll see that full information on that is going to come up this Monday. And this is going to solve a lot of problems that you guys have been asking about over the last couple of weeks. You've been saying, like, we want to see this change. I've had a lot of people come in and say it's impossible that these guys that did these times. But if you are, what we did with this is we consulted directly with multiple speedrunners, multiple like YouTube videos, that sort of thing. Also internally, we checked every single time that every staff member has and went like, is this possible? Is it within the realm of possibility? And if you happen to be just like a million times better than the absolute best, then you can show us and we'll be able to add that into leaderboard times and legitimize those sorts of times. So this helps us solve the problem of things like the chat bug, right? Because we're not going to go play through those experiences. We're not going to have taken those times, those for as a legitimate time, right? So we would remove chat bug times entirely, which will again shake up the leaderboard a bit. So you'll see that change coming up on Monday.
Okay. And of course, we are running out of our time here. So I'm going to announce our winners.
All right.
We do have to
take
our
yeah.
leave.
I have that meeting like 2 minutes ago. Thank you.
Yes. And so the winner of the Wizzy Purple Enhanced Hat is Chumsy7. So congratulations, Chumsy7, over on Twitch. And I asked, how was your day? They said bad. And I understand that.
I hope your day gets better.
Remember, feelings aren't final.
Wait, I hope your day just got better, because you won. Hope your day got better.
And the winner of the Alpha Pass is going to be over on YouTube. Their favorite experience was the Aoki Playhouse.
Okay.
Congratulations, City of Rocks.
City of Rocks. All right. All right. So, Tomatito, forgive me, asking over on YouTube. The last question I'm going to answer here for today because I am late for my meeting already. The reset would be for everyone or just the ridiculous times. It is for the times that are clearly exploitative, right? The times you're going to see that leaderboard get shook up a little bit, and some of those quests will purely get their times reset, a few of them. So we'll play through, and most of those experience quests are going to be real short ones anyway, like things that you can get done in 30 seconds, but maybe you got it done in 2 because of the chat bug day or whatever, right? But, you know, that's going to come down on Monday. Full details of that on a medium.com press release we're going to put out there. And then, once again, you'll see on your leaderboard time, you may have a couple more EPs you need to pick up on that day. But overall, it's going to be the best solution that we could come through with the community feedbacks, all the things, you know, like I said, I took some polls. You guys have said a whole bunch of stuff in the chat that we've been taking into consideration. And quite honestly, to your favor as community members, to your favor as speedrunners, I'm going to say PandaPops went to war for you guys in the community on this one. It's probably been a good 40 hours of this week for her, just specifically talking to a bunch of different people, pulling data from a bunch of different speedrunners and things like that in the community to make sure that everything was legitimate and enjoyable on top of her 40-hour week. So say thank you to PandaPops if you get a chance for this, as once again, this update is coming down on Monday, and it's going to be good for the community at large. So anyway, chat.
And
yes.
I'm certain that something official will be out there from TSB real soon. And I'm going to repeat this that I just sent out there. We are messengers. Thank you for your understanding. We will do our best to make this information more transparent and easier to access.
All right.
Are easier to access. But hey, once again,
yes,
I'm not infallible. TSB isn't infallible. It's an alpha. We're learning.
Yeah. And see, I mean, candidly, I appreciate you being candid there. It's kind of funny. I won't read it back. But yeah, unfortunately, like, you're going to run into that. And I think there's no way to avoid that, right? Like, when somebody asked me about the season pass thing, I said, I'm not sure, but I think that it's going to be like this. Maybe it's not. And that same day, like, they sold the pass and they were like, oh, Joe, it's your fault that I sold the pass, right? And it's like, it's one of those things where, like, you have to take it with a grain of salt and allow the things to resolve. We know what is true. And what is true is that we can't change the laws in your country, but you can, because you live there. So go out there and be the change. You know what I mean? Be the change. And we'll be back with more. Of course, you got Alex Florez live stream tomorrow morning, my time. It's 11 a.m. my time, which makes it 6 p.m. UTC, his show. Come check that out. Typically, it is a Game Maker show. So if you have questions about the Game Maker, he's a little bit more expertise in that regard. But you can also, of course, ask questions about the Metaverse, VoxEdit, or anything else in the Sandbox Game ecosystem on their stream as well. He'll be there with Lucas is right. And then also, if you guys want to join these guys, these nerds, these gamers right here who love the Sandbox game, a lot of them are in a D&D live stream later over on twitch.tv/halfdork, with the O from dork being a 0. So you can go check that out in about an hour and a half from now. They're going to go live, I think. Or is it like in 20 minutes? I forget. I think it's 20 minutes. Anyway, chat, it's been my pleasure hanging out with you today. We're going to get down to a raid of someone over on twitch.tv. So I'm going to take us to the intermission screen. And on that intermission screen, when I'm playing the music, I'm looking for somebody over on Twitch. We'll raid somebody in the order that they have not been raided before, preferred. And then from there, we'll see what's up. So thanks for hanging out with us. It's been a good chat. Heck of a stream. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.